Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to present at this IGAD meeting. We are very grateful to get this opportunity. I am Suchith Anand, and I am from the Global Open Data for Agriculture and Nutrition. And this work I'm going to share today is work by a lot of colleagues, and I want to particularly acknowledge that it's a team effort by a huge team and so many organizations as well. So I want to acknowledge contributions from Carol Chavat, Bente Bai, Hannah Kukorova, Tula Loti, Fotini Sambati, and Kiringai Kamau, who had contributed to this presentation, and all the organizations who contributed for this initiative called the Kampala INSPIRE Hackathon 2020, which is a hackathon and an ideathon for a sustainable Africa. And this is one example of capacity development efforts in agriculture. I want to start with, from GODAN, we have been working on zero hunger aim. So we want to work on our main focus of our activities is on how we ensure zero hunger for all, and also how we can use open data to help smallholder farmers. And if you think about it, the majority of the poorest people on our planet depend on agriculture for their livelihoods. So how can we use open data to improve the incomes of the smallholder farmers? So this is very important from a GODAN perspective, and we believe that capacity development for developing countries is one key way to make sure we can improve the local capacities in developing countries for agriculture. So for this Inspire Hackathon, I wanted to give some background, and I wanted to share this quote from Carol Chavat, who is one of the key initiators of this idea. And the idea of that these hackathons are not an event, but it's a process, and that's very important. It's a it's a learning process for everyone. It brings together a lot of people from all different disciplinary backgrounds to form teams around problems or ideas and work collaboratively to co-create unique solutions to different challenges from scratch. So the outputs of these are generally takes in the form of websites, webinars, applications, tools, policy papers, or processes. So it's a lot of different activities happening in these ideathons and hackathons. And it has last year there was a Nairobi Inspire Hackathon, which had over 26 African countries participated. And the idea is to bring together various European projects and African communities to share ideas and strengthen relationships, and also for new future research and innovation projects. So the idea is to learn from each other. So for this year's, it is a fully virtual hackathon. So it started in March 2020, and the final event was in May. So it had 2-month time period, and around 10 different projects were started and were working on this. So it from some of the projects from related to transportation aspects of urban planning to smart Afri hubs, digital innovation activities in Africa. Open land use projects, looking into some of them, looking into open land use and how we can use remote sensing and other data for these aspects, and looking into IoT technologies for Africa, climate change trends, text mining, metadata, ethical and legal aspects of open data for smallholder farmers. So it's a wide variety of challenges and work has been done in these 2 months. And this was possible thanks to the mentors, and I want to specifically acknowledge and thank the mentors for their time and guidance for these teams and their projects. So a lot of mentors from Europe, Africa, around the world, they all contributed to make this possible. So my thanks to all of them for their work on this. And just yes, I mentioned it's an international collaboration. So we had participation from over 200 participation from all over the world participating in this ideathon and hackathon for the Inspire Kampala Hackathon. And as I mentioned in the beginning itself, the idea is also about community building and capacity development happening. And thanks to specifically Benta Bay, who organized the webinars as part of our capacity development activities, bringing together all these projects to share their ideas with the wider communities and build more knowledge sharing as part of it. So over 36 speakers, and from what I understand, over 1,000 participants participated in this webinars as part of the knowledge sharing activities of this initiative. And on 6th of May, we also had a final presentation ceremony. We had a jury to evaluate all these 10 projects. So it was myself, Lydia Canado from the University of Macquarie, and Ian Jarvis, who heads the GeoGlam program at the Group on Earth Observations. And and I just want to show some of the outputs from these projects, so you get an idea of what the work has been going on. And one example is this climate change trends for Africa, which won the 3rd prize. And it is interesting to see how this was led by the mentor was Pavel Hajek, and they used a proof of concept scenario to bring together future climatic conditions, how you can forecast based on temporal trends and climatic data. So several climatic variables from things like frost dates, annual seasonal evapotranspiration, precipitation, soil temperature, solar radiation, and a wide variety of variables to look into how it evolved over time and how the visualization. So you can see the graph visualizations and the trends of the variables, and also it looks into uncertainty of the data and the variables to look into how the credibility of the data as well. So quite an interesting project that came out of the challenges as well. So another one was this one, which won the 2nd place, called the Smart Afri Hub. And this is a very interesting one because it brought together, if you look at the word cloud, you will see the expertise of the different participants in this challenge, from very different aspects, from agriculture, climate science, a lot of experts, and also from a lot of different countries who participated in this challenge. So it also shows the community building aspect of this. So the idea is sharing ideas from Africa, Europe, around the world on how they are using agriculture. So developing communities of practice. So this was a very interesting project which we found very useful to help build up ideas for the future. And as I mentioned before, it's not an event, it's a process. So bringing together communities and people to work on shared ideas is also a very important aspect of this initiative. And the first prize was won by this project, which was looking into desert locust. This was led by Paul Kasoma, Kisitu Obidamu, and Lillian Nubudu. So this one was very important because if we specifically look at, as you know, East Africa, right now there is a great threat on desert locust that threaten food security of over 25 million people in the region. So this particular project was looking into the solution, how if we can use, for example, remote sense data, a lot of openly available data to find solutions for this. And so we found some, and they used a lot of, and this project, we hope it will continue in the future as well too. So the team will build up on ideas for the future. So they looked into various statistical aspects of the correlation of how the location of the locust, bringing together the various data sets from temperature, precipitation, vegetation, wind direction, and look into various correlations of how these things are. So, and also the risk mapping on the forecasting aspects of this as well. And you can see some of the outputs they have developed as well. And I want to also mention there are a lot of other projects that are very important. And one of the projects I want to particularly mention is the Challenge 9, who are looking, that was led by Fotini Zambati from GODAN, who was looking at the ethical and legal aspects of open data affecting farmers. And GODAN has now published a code of conduct, which I will welcome those of you who are interested to look into. The web links are here, so you can find the URL of the code of conduct, which was developed by CTA, GODAN, and GFA. So this particular hackathon, this was a good opportunity to bring together colleagues to share ideas on to provide the conceptual basis for general scalable guidelines for association of smallholder farmers, mostly in developing countries, on how to use, adjust, and negotiate and set up farmer-centered farm data sharing codes. So the participants who participated in this challenge provided valuable insights for the launch of the GODAN CTA GFAR online tool on codes of conduct, where everyone can learn about the codes of conduct for open agriculture data, and they can build and save and share their own as well. So this tool feature clauses for which the users will be able to select if they think that are relevant for their users as well. So I will, for any of you interested in this, please go to the GODAN website and look at the resources that are available as well. So I want to conclude by sharing some of the experience, some of the lessons that we learned as well. So the benefits, what we found was the contributions to the joint effort to build sustainable Africa, bringing together colleagues from around the world to work on these different areas. And it's also extending the capacity development networks in Africa and beyond. So we want to make sure colleagues in the developing countries have the capacity, they build the capacity in agriculture at the local level as well. So this hands-on work to solve problems in Africa has been a very good way for them to understand it. And it is collaboration with experts. The mentors provide a very good opportunities for the participants to be part of the knowledge sharing, and there's a lot of knowledge sharing happening within this initiative. So it's also about testing new technologies, capacity development, and it's a self-directed approach. We also provided certificates to all participants who participated in the hackathon. And all the final reports of the teams will be published in the GODAN Research Gateway with the DOI. So we were able to build up the knowledge they have generated. And the most important thing we found was it helped us build a lot of new partnerships for the future projects, a lot of new ideas which can be used for future research as well. And as I mentioned before, the capacity development aspects have been fundamental to this initiative, and webinars provided a very important tool for us to share this. And the webinars, we have over 1,100 participants who registered for the webinars, and in total around 18 hours of education webinars were made from the various projects as well. So I want to thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. And please feel free to contact GODAN or Plan for All for any information needed as well. Thank you very much.